In modern warfare, sound is your only warning. When a supersonic fighter jet attacks, you hear the scream of the engines. When an attack helicopter approaches, you hear the roar of the rotors. You have exactly 3 seconds to run. But the most lethal assassin in the United States Air Force breaks this rule completely. Look at the MQ-9 Reaper. It has a wingspan of 66 feet. It carries 4,000 pounds of laser-guided Hellfire missiles. And it is powered by a massive 900 horsepower turboprop engine. Logically, an aircraft this massive should be as loud as a commercial airliner. But when it circles directly over your head, at 3 in the morning, you hear absolutely nothing. It is a multi-million-dollar invisible ghost. How did the United States military physically mute a massive airplane? A turboprop engine is essentially a jet engine attached to a massive fan. It violently shreds the air, creating a shockwave of deafening noise. If an enemy on the ground hears that noise, they will hide underground. The mission fails. Engineers had to figure out a way to silence a 900 horsepower beast. So, the testing began. Hypothesis 1. Wrap the massive engine in heavy acoustic suppressors, exactly like a silencer on a sniper rifle. The result? Total and absolute failure. A silencer restricts the flow of exhaust. It creates massive back pressure. If you choke a 900 horsepower engine, it instantly loses its thrust. The drone becomes too weak to carry 4,000 pounds of missiles. The aircraft simply stalls and crashes into the dirt. Hypothesis 2. Just fly the drone at extreme altitudes, like 50,000 feet, where the sound waves cannot physically reach the ground. This is highly logical, but completely useless. The Reaper is not just a spy plane, it is a precision assassin. If it flies too high, its lasers cannot pinpoint a specific human target. In a crowded city street, it must fly lower. But it must remain silent. The ultimate solution required engineers to aggressively manipulate the physics of sound waves. Enter the pusher configuration. Look at a normal turboprop airplane. The propeller is in the front. It blasts loud, violent air backward across the entire body of the plane, amplifying the noise. But on the Reaper, the engine and the propeller are mounted at the very back. The entire physical body of the aircraft acts as a massive acoustic shield, blocking the sound waves from traveling forward and down to the ground. But the engineers went even further. Look at the exhaust pipes. Instead of pointing down toward the earth, they are angled sharply upward. When the engine burns jet fuel, the violent, deafening roar of the exhaust is blasted straight up into the stratosphere. It physically bounces the sound waves into empty space. By the time the drone reaches its hunting altitude of 25,000 feet, the tiny fraction of sound that actually travels down is completely swallowed by the ambient noise of the wind. The enemy does not hear a multi-million-dollar engine. They only hear the wind until it is far too late. Understanding the harsh reality of war is not for everyone, but you are still here. Hit subscribe and join the 1% who actually know how the world works. Oh, but speaking of terrifying silent weapons, Hollywood has taught us that military lasers are bright, glowing beams of light that make loud noises. But the newest directed energy weapon in the United States arsenal proves the movies completely wrong. Look at the high-energy laser weapon system. When the military pulls the trigger, there is no massive explosion, there is no recoil, and the beam itself is completely invisible to the human eye. It strikes the target at the exact speed of light, and the classified, terrifying physics of how an invisible, silent beam of light can physically melt a flying missile in mid-air will completely blow your mind.